Nocturne is terrifying to play against in the jungle with his insane long-range ganking ultimate and his punishing kit being so hard to deal with. Nocturne can gank from anywhere in an instance, making him one of the best counter gankers in the entire game. Nocturne does however struggle to do his job properly when he's a little bit behind, as he'll simply either get blown up when he ults or just not do enough damage to actually do anything. For your main keystone, you're going to want to go for lethal tempo. It's super strong on Nocturne and allows him to fight for extended periods of time and remain very strong throughout. Fill the rest of the precision tree for healing, attack speed and damage. After that, you'll want to use the domination tree to get Ultimate Hunter, allowing you to spam that ability as much as possible. For your skill order, you're going to want to max Q for its damage, then E for a lower cooldown on your fear, and finally W to finish off. Let's dive straight into it and look at Nocturne's items. Well, for your mythic choice, Stridebreaker feels like it was made for this champion. It provides a huge slow which works amazingly well to keep your enemy inside your fear tether. This item also gives Nocturne a ton of amazing stats to boost that bruiser playstyle. Duskblade of Drakthar is a more offensive option to go for though. It gives you tons of damage alongside its passive allowing you to dart in and out of stealth when you pick up kills. This is a great option if you want to go down the more glass cannon route. For some common options to go next, Sterak's Gauge is definitely an amazing choice for Nocturne. It's going to help him stay alive when diving into teams with his ultimate, and also gives him some decent damage stats. Guardian Angel is similar to Sterak's in the way that it gives Nocturne less risk when he engages, but also it's an amazing way to increase his damage output. Edge of Night is another fantastic lethality item, giving you a spell shield to help prevent enemies disengaging or bursting you down when you engage. This works incredibly well when combined with Nocturne's W. Axiom Arc is also a unique lethality item that can actually grant you a lower cooldown on your ultimate, which on Nocturne is absolutely mental. Definitely something to consider in the right games. For some defensive options, Randuin's Omen is a brilliant choice versus full AD comps, and especially effective when diving into backlines with its AoE slow. Death Stance is a great option versus heavy AD compositions as well, as this will not only give you armor but also stagger some of the damage taken, making you harder to burst down. Wit's End is also the magic resist item of choice, and Nocturne loves any excuse for a bit more attack speed and on-hit damage. There's also a few situational items to think about, as Chempunk Chainsword and Thornmail are both viable choices and very important versus lots of champions with high healing. And Seven's Fang is definitely something to pick up when you're against champions with loads of shields. In easy matchups, you're going to want to abuse the fact you can rush to level 6 as soon as possible, where you'll become infinitely more impactful. You can also invade and use the enemy jungle to piggyback your way to level 6 even faster, as you should actually be able to duel these champions if you do come across them. Just remember to try and play around your other lanes who have that early priority. Once you have your ultimate, you can gank on repeat. Against harder matchups, you want to try and get to level 6 as soon as possible, but without being invaded and put behind before you can get the ball rolling. It's really important to try and ward those jungle entrances and play near to lanes that can actually assist you if your opponents do try and put behind. As soon as you get your ultimate, you should not have a problem and you can counter gank to recover from any early deficit. Just get to that level 6 as soon as you can. If an enemy jungler is playing over aggressive and invading your top side often, try to punish them by securing an early dragon. So Nocturne doesn't actually really have the most reliable CC early game, so laners that can bring some early setup crowd control will be brilliant, especially when he gets his ultimate. Nocturne also uniquely works exceptionally well with champions who also have global or semi-global ultimates like Paranoia. Champions like Twisted Fate, Shen or Pantheon are optimal pairings. So in those early levels, you're going to make sure you're farming up as much as you can, whilst also protecting yourself and your jungle from any invaders. You can look to gank pre-6 with your fear, but just make sure you're prioritizing lanes that have crowd control, as this will make your chances of getting kills a lot easier. When you're level 6, you'll want to gank with your ultimate as soon as it's off cooldown. You can gank the same lanes repeatedly and abuse their summoner spell cooldowns, as this will be easily free kills and then potentially free objectives too. You want to try and time your spell shield well as well against major enemy abilities that may be used to disengage from you to avoid enemies getting away. So when it comes to your jungle pathing on Nocturne, you're going to want to basically prioritize full clearing to get as much experience as possible. Quite often you'll actually want to path to the opposite side to the enemy jungler if they are a strong early game duelist. Once you've done those first 4 camps, you can look for a gank, but if you just want to prioritize getting to level 6, then just opt for a full clear instead. On blue side, you can start blue, then Gromp, then Wolves, head to Raptors, red, and then finally Krugs to finish. If you're playing red side, you can go red buff, then Krugs, then Raptors, then Wolves, then blue and Gromp to finish. So in Teamfights, it's going to be your job to dive those backlines and assassinate high value targets with your damage and disruption. Try to catch enemies when they're split up from their team with your ultimate and pick them off. If you have strong engaging allies that can follow up with your ultimate, such as an Orianna ult, try not to get too far away from them, as they may not actually be able to follow you up if you're out of range. Also, make sure you're fully utilising your spell shield to prevent any major incoming abilities, and your fear to really punish those enemies trying to deal with you. Sometimes you'll actually want to fear enemies near your main target that are trying to peel them, rather than your intended target. Let's finish this video with a few quick tips. Your Q will follow an enemy if it hits them, which provides extra movement speed and damage whilst on that path, so it's very important that you're hitting this ability. Not only that though, but in matchups against champions with stealth like a Shaco, you can actually track the direction they run away in. Your Spell Shield's attack speed buff can actually be used on Dragon's basic attack, so utilise this for extra attack speed when securing that early objective. There's nothing more embarrassing than losing vision on an enemy as soon as you pop your ultimate. Consider picking up a blue trinket or just keep placing those deep wards to avoid this happening. That's going to conclude our short guide on Nocturne. Take care.